Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. The Trudeau government says it has listened to entrepreneurs and it's making changes to its controversial small business tax reform plan. Annie, let's start with some relief for small business owners.
Well, it really is a long-awaited tax cut, Paul. Trudeau making good on a campaign promise today. One of a few tweaks to a controversial proposal created to close tax loopholes for businesses. Now, the small business tax rate is going to drop from 10.5% to 10% in January and then to 9% in 2019. That amounts to more than $800 million a year. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation says entrepreneurs can then reinvest in increasing wages and also hiring more staff. So that's an announcement that is being well received today, Paul.
Yeah, but I think the Liberals are pushing ahead with one of the more controversial parts of the plan.
Well, it's still going to be cracking down to a degree on what's called income sprinkling. It's considered a loophole that allows business owners to split their income among family members so they can lower their income tax rate. So the reform was supposed to eliminate that completely. Instead, it's going to be allowed, but if the family members actually work in the business and if they can prove that, Paul.
And Trudeau also backing down on changes to the limit access to the lifetime capital gains exemption.
Yeah, Trudeau says that the government will not be changing a rule that allows business owners to convert income into capital gains, which are taxed at a lower rate. Now, this was especially upsetting to farmers who argued that it would make it more expensive for a family member to buy a farm than for a third party to do so. So it's that pushback that's led to the tweaks that are announced today. You could say damage control. That's what the opposition is calling it today. And the reform was proposed in July, and it was followed by weeks of consultations during which the plan was heavily criticized for penalizing middle-class Canadians instead of targeting only the wealthy, which it was supposed to do, this reform. Here's what Finance Minister Bill Morneau had to say on that today.
I heard from women professionals who felt that we didn't necessarily understand their reality. I also heard from my caucus colleagues. I heard from them that we needed to make sure that we were listening to them and listening to their constituents. They provided me with advice, expertise, and obviously advocacy on behalf of their constituents to make sure that we get this right.
So backtracking or not, Paul, the government says the combined impact of the changes that it's announced today are going to amount to almost $3 billion in tax cuts over the next 5 years.